Many of you will agree that Tony Blair is one of the most hated men in the country, like his successor, Gordon Brown. I mean, Tony Blair was Prime Minister from 1997 to 2007, and he did more damage to this country than ever before. I mean, there are those idiots who claim that Margaret Thatcher destroyed, on the left-wing spectrum, claim that Margaret Thatcher destroyed this country and basically ruined whole communities, etc. Well, I don't agree with that at all. It is Tony Blair who's actually destroyed the fabric of this country, and he imported hundreds of thousands of cheap, unskilled labourers from Eastern Europe into this country, and I mean, the point of migration is for it to be sustained. The impact of Tony Blair signing the UK up to the Freedom Movement was that the migration to this country we witnessed from 2004 to these recent times is that it was far too quick and far too unsustainable. Sustainable migration means that you have a sustainable number of people coming in, so your public services, the community, the schools, the hospitals can cope with the levels as they are coming in. But if the rate of migration is too fast paced than your country's services and public services can cope with, then obviously there's a disaster waiting to happen, which has happened. It's caused overcrowding in schools, it's caused discontent in communities up and down the country. And if you look at Boston, England, the face of that town has changed forever. With sustainable migration, this means that the government has control of the numbers of who can come in, so they can plan ahead for the next 5 years and can plan the investment in public services and make sure the schools, businesses and housing is not affected too much. Which is obviously important, because obviously we all need a place to live, obviously. We all need decent schools, we all need decent hospitals. But like I said before, under Tony Blair, the freedom movement, the fast-paced migration of Eastern Europeans was literally like skyrocketing, and the public services have been literally trembling like that because they can't cope with it. The public services are designed in that day and age to cope with the numbers that they have. They weren't designed for a massive invasion that actually has caused mainly for the NHS to actually go bankrupt, to be overstretched to breaking point. Yes, there are those who are saying, we've got a rising elderly population. But obviously, many academics will agree that fast-paced migration has actually destroyed this country. Going to another point of Mr. Blair's legacy, obviously everyone knows that he became a Middle East peace envoy. He actually destroyed the Middle East with his invasion of Iraq, with bloody George Bush, etc. His support of the Palestinian people for their so-called Palestinian state. And the Middle East has been on fire ever since. Have we had an apology from Mr. Blair? No, we haven't. Mr. Blair with the Britain's currency, the pound sterling, which is obviously far more valuable than the euro. And obviously, had we gone into the euro, it would have been an economic catastrophe. Just look across the Irish Channel, look at Greece, look at Italy, look at Spain. A country that loses control of its currency, losing control of its sovereignty. And all our financial matters, all our health, all our budgets, etc. for healthcare, education, won't be made in London, they will be made in Brussels. The whole point of the euro is for the EU and its Marxist machine to have more control and strip nations of their national identity. That's the whole point of currencies. Currency is an emblem, massive emblem of national pride and national sovereignty as well. I mean, Tony Blair did more worse for this country than he ever did good. I mean, people were saying, oh, how come he won 3 elections in a row? Well, if you look at the voting statistics from 1997 to 2007, he was losing more and more votes as the elections went on. It was because people couldn't really, well, obviously after 18 years, obviously people wanted something different from one party conservative rule, obviously. Because obviously, democratically, the Conservatives were elected to 4 governments in a row. And obviously, it's going to scam people wanting change. But obviously, Michael Howard was a weak Conservative leader. And people can't get the idea of trusting the Conservatives again. But basically, by 2007, people were growing uneasy with Labour and this mass migration that was going on that we did not vote for. And also of Britain being shoved into the EU. Tony Blair gave away huge amounts of our sovereignty to the EU. I mean, the man was literally one of the biggest Europhiles in the UK. That him and Lord Kinnock. Tony Blair was paid to go arse over backwards for the EU. As was his predecessor, Gordon Brown, who signed us up to the Lisbon Treaty. Gordon Brown sold our gold reserves at record low prices. I mean, Gordon Brown succeeded Tony Blair in 2007. He literally stabbed his former ally in the back and became Prime Minister again. In late 2007, everyone thought there was going to be a general election. But Gordon Brown bottled it. And the papers called Gordon Brown Bottler Brown. Nicknamed Gordon Brown Bottler Brown because he bottled the election. Now, Gordon Brown was absolutely useless, and there was cases of allegations of bullying during his premiership, and things got worse because the global crash. And Gordon Brown said billions here, billions there, which the country did not have, and he basically deepened Britain into a fucking debt mine. He literally spent, by the time Gordon Brown then, was in over £1 trillion worth of debt. I mean, the socialists are really good at spending other people's money, but it's a shame they don't really have a plan how to pay it back. As for nationalisation of Northern Rock, that should never have happened. I mean, I don't think the bank should have ever got a penny of British taxpayers' money. I mean, they're still behaving in the same irresponsible way. But at least if the government was going to bail out the banks, the government should have served terms on the banks to say if you act like this again, there'll be repercussions. But that never happened, obviously. So we can see the legacy of the Blair Brown premiership of 16 miserable years. That's what it was. 13 miserable years under Labour. Economic decline, the billions of debt, the forced mass migration of Europeans into the UK that the UK voters did not actually vote for. And also don't forget about the nanny state as well. You can't smoke in a pub, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't smoke in a bus shelter. Literally, by the time Gordon Brown became Prime Minister, the UK was turning fast into an Orwellian state. The government telling you what you can't and can do, etc. And you have this change for life idiocy. You have these posters going around saying, you can't eat that, or you can't eat that. That's got too much sugar in it, etc. The wedding skate. I mean, I'm so glad. I obviously gave a camera, which was shit 5 minutes ago. But at least we're free from the fucking wedding skate of Labour. Has Labour learned its lessons? Not really. You got Keir Starmer, who's actually very pro. He's a very pro Europhile, very pro asylum seeker. So the chance of him becoming Prime Minister is probably zero. But it doesn't mean Boris will have an easy ride, because obviously people get angry again. Why? Because of what's happening in the English Channel, and people about how the migrants are actually having hotels, etc., and how much money has been wasted and been given to the French for nothing.